Hey guys, welcome back to the Inzolo Strength YouTube channel. I'm joined today by Kendra McGowan, and she is a multifaceted businesswoman with businesses in media, beauty, health, and wellness, as well as swimwear. So she does a lot. She actually has a background as well in dance and gymnastics and competed in over 10 different federations throughout the years. So today we really want to cover how she balances business life and fitness, and how you can also bring some fitness into your busy life as an entrepreneur or business owner. We are going to cover a lot of tips and tools for how you can be more effective in your own lives and actually bring fitness into your routine. If you want to tell me a little bit about maybe some of the businesses that you run and what you do for work right now.
Yeah, so we're actually in one of them. So I franchise a Supplement World. This location is in White Rock, South Surrey in British Columbia. We have amazing prices on everything if you want to come in.
Come check it out.
And we have the best tasting protein shakes. They taste exactly like a milkshake and they have 0 grams of sugar. And then I also do hair makeup, photography, videography, a whole bunch of extra little things as well.
So yeah, she's a busy lady, guys. And yeah, this is one of her businesses right now that she has so graciously allowed us to film out of. I know fitness is a big part of your life. So do you want to just tell me a little bit about you and your story and how you got into fitness?
Yeah, of course. I'll give you a bit of a timeline. So my parents have always been quite athletic. My dad played tons of sports. My mom played tons of sports. They had me, and my dad started, literally, I was stretching and doing splits and things like that, pretty much coming out of the womb is what they say. So I actually started doing gymnastics when I was like 5, and I started competing competitively at 6.
Wow.
So my parents actually, I bless them for everything that they've done for me. They would drive me an hour to Lloyd and an hour back every single day pretty much of the week, and 3 hours to Edmonton and 3 hours back on the weekends to compete.
Wow.
So I started training like 20 plus hours a week in the gym from the time I was a little kid.
So you've always been in the gym, basically.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but there's such a big difference between like being very functional as a gymnast compared to what I later went into, which is like the lifting weights all the time and doing the bodybuilding route of things.
For sure, yeah. So in terms of kind of that shift from, doing gymnastics into bodybuilding, when did that happen for you?
So I had to retire from gymnastics. I just kept on getting a few little injuries, and I was having very stunted spine. So
Okay.
I needed to take a breather from that, grow, and then I got quite tall for gymnastics. I'm almost 5'6", so
What's the average height?
like 5'2".
Oh, really?
Yeah, or shorter. Yeah, because the distance between the bars is not very long, and you don't want to be smacking your toes on it, right?
Okay.
Plus,
yeah,
you get
that makes
marked
sense.
if you arch too much or under arch too much. So it just was like one of those things. So I went into dance instead. I kind of had a couple dance coaches that were also posing coaches for bodybuilding, and they were like, oh, maybe you should try bodybuilding. I think that would be fun for you. And at the time I was doing keto, only doing really home workouts and things like that. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll give it a go.
Give it a shot, why not?
Yeah.
You've always kind of been in the gym or doing some sort of athletics.
Yeah.
But kind of give us maybe some perspective on what are some of the issues or the problems that you run into on a weekly basis with keeping fitness as a part of your routine moving forward, especially now that you're getting busier. If you want to maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I think the biggest thing is feeling like you're, especially when you want to be so good at business. Business wants to be your number one. You want to make money. You want to do all these things. But truly, if you're not taking care of yourself on the back end, all the rest of this is going to fall apart too.
For sure.
And I find when I'm not doing my books on time, my accounting and doing this and that, it's because I'm not also dialed on my fitness at the same time. If I let one slip, the other slips.
For sure. So your fitness and your business are very, very intertwined.
Yes, very much. And I feel like just starting my day, even with just a big walk with the dogs, just sets my day up for success. I don't have to go and do fasted cardio like I used to do, or do hours on the treadmill or do the heaviest weight session. But as long as I'm doing active movement and mobility throughout every single day, I feel good about myself.
For sure. And I think that's a good takeaway too, guys, is there's a difference between competing in sport and then probably what a lot of you guys are looking to do is just live a healthier, fitter life alongside your business and also make yourself more effective in your business. So I think we can talk a little bit about that too, kind of those key differences. Because right now you're not really competing in any sort of competitions, you're just living, working, and fitness is sort of something that supports that right? For you.
Yeah. I find when you're like doing competitions, you become so obsessive with just that everything else does fall to the wayside. And I'm sure you've talked to many people where that has been the thing. Same with like training for marathons, training for like very high demanding like sports. You don't have much time for anything else.
Yeah.
But when you do like take those more intense things off the back burner and you're able to just enjoy your fitness again, like find a class that you really like at least once a week, you know what I mean? Go and do those walks with your friends. You can still do it as like more of a group thing, I find, as well. And that keeps you really, really engaged. You can FaceTime someone while you're going on a big walk, you know, like just
sure.
anything that like keeps you active is so great.
Yeah, and I did like what you said about kind of keeping social, as well as that it's something that more fills your cup rather than is like your sole focus.
Oh,
of
yeah.
Just, I need to do this because I'm signed up for a competition, or because I'll do that a lot myself too, where I like sign up for something so it keeps me honest.
Yes.
And I do like to do that occasionally because like I like having a goal to work towards, but that's not going to be healthy and necessarily the best for everybody. So what she said about finding things that you like to do and having those as sort of anchors or staples in your routine can be really, really, transformative in actually having you create a routine, right? Because if you hate what you're doing, you probably won't do it for that long.
No.
Right? Unless you're signed up for a competition and you need to do it, right?
Yeah.
And hire a coach. But if you love what you do or you find things that you enjoy, you're gonna do them for longer.
Yeah.
So I think it's important.
I've told clients too, even like just getting in the habit, like if you're not someone that already has like a gym routine or a movement routine or something like that, just even like getting ready, getting yourself in the car, driving to that place. Maybe you're not comfortable enough to like go inside the building yet, but you're at least like getting your body into that neural pattern that you're going to eventually get there.
Yeah. 100%. It's the skill of showing up rather than the skill of actually effectively doing like a full workout.
Yes.
Right? It's like just get there for 5 minutes, show up, do the thing, and go from there. How do you fit fitness and exercise into your busy schedule, especially as you've gotten busier over the years? If you want to break that down for me, that'd be great.
Yeah, of course. I used to be the type of person that if like I had my calendar in front of me, I had like the list of everything I had to do that day, and if I didn't accomplish those the exact list in that row, I'd feel super upset and like very overwhelmed and all that kind of stuff. But as I've gotten busier with business, I've just been like, okay, so here's my note. And I do like, okay, 3 times that I do like weights a week, 2 times that I'm either doing like a group class or whatever, 10,000 steps a day. That's like my minimum, especially because I have dogs. Like the dogs need to be there at least, you know what I mean? And then following like a type of like meal pattern that I just like really enjoy for myself, just eating whole foods and things like that. Journaling every single day, and I'm like a journal reflector. Okay. So even like scheduling the fitness in, if I'm like, okay, I force that in that day, I journal about it and I'm like, okay, maybe that wasn't working that day, that type of workout, but also because of the time of day that it was at, or if I was just like forcing it to get in, maybe I should have just done a walk or something like that.
What are some of like the biggest habits or takeaways that people at home watching could, take from this video and actually go action upon today to maybe help them fit more things into their schedule if they're really struggling right now?
Totally. This is so cliche to say because I think thousands of people have posted this online, which is like the start your day with making your bed thing.
Yeah.
But I genuinely feel like it's like that first little win of the day that just you've accomplished something already. It's so
for sure.
It's so simple. The other thing is like making sure I do my morning water, which is like creatine, glutamine, lemon, salt, just hot water. I drink that, I reflect, enjoy my morning.
Cleanse. Yeah.
Then I walk the dogs. And then after that, as long as I accomplish those little things in the morning, I'm like very actively set up. If I sit and I like get on the computer or like look at my phone in the morning or do those kinds of things, I'm thrown totally out of loop. And you're just so, all of a sudden your cortisol is high and you're thinking about things that really aren't relative to your morning. A calm, nice, peaceful morning is the best 100%. Way to set up your day. Yeah.
100%, right? It's the whole 5 a.m. club sort of mentality of like having time for yourself prior to getting into your day. And I'm very similar now, where I used to like just go straight to my computer, coffee, this.
Yep. I don't do coffee till the afternoon now. That's
good, yeah, because once again, talking about cortisol, you're gonna bump your cortisol early on. I still do coffee in the morning, but I do take an hour, like I wake up early at 5,
Yep.
and my first hour of the day is more focused on like, maybe I do a little bit of reading. Yeah, maybe I do a little bit of just like easing my way into the day. Because as soon as I look at my computer, or I usually start training clients
Yep.
at around 7 a.m. So, and then from 7 to noon or 1, I'm just with clients in the gym, and then I have my online business as well, which I do in the afternoon. But it's that having that time for yourself before you give yourself to a bunch of other people
Yeah.
for the day. How has your perspective on fitness and health changed as you've kind of gotten busier and taken on more business stuff, right? Do you have the same views that you did back then, or have they changed over the years?
Yeah, so I would say they've definitely changed over the years. I remember, like, even now, I used to do lots of music festivals. I used to dance for them, right? So I would have, like, the name of the music festival and be, like, prep, like, body prep for that music festival or whatever I was going to do. And it was just, like, high reps, super high intensity, like, 7 days a week, not giving your body any rest, and, like, not feeding your body the nutrients that it needs. And now I'm like, okay, I'm pretty cyclical when it comes to the way that I train. So like period cycle. So different times of the month, I'm more into different styles of fitness. And I do what makes me happy. You know, like if I'm like into Legree and Pilates right now, I'm gonna do that. If I'm into yoga right now, I'm gonna do that. And I don't feel guilty anymore about taking the break from the weights.
Yeah. And I think that's, once again, kind of ties back to what we were talking about beforehand, of like doing stuff that you enjoy, which I think is great for if you're already really stressed out with business and with life. Having those things you like to do is going to be really, really important. If you guys have made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate all the support. And remember to give this video a like, leave a comment if you have any questions, and subscribe to the channel, because we will be releasing more videos like this very, very soon. And don't forget to come down to Supplement World White Rock, because they have everything you need in terms of protein powder, pre-workout, amino acids. They got everything here. So come check it out. You guys will not be disappointed. And anything you want to say quickly, Kendra? Or?
I don't think so. If you want a good protein shake, you may as well come get one from us.
There you go. You guys heard it here first. How do you feel like, you know, your current setup, your current fitness routine supports your mental health, and how do you manage stress in and around your business as well? Kind of two questions there, but if you want to talk about that. But.
Yeah, of course. Handling stress in and around my business, again, going back to the journaling thing, I find that to be key, especially when we were trying to get the financing and things like that for this store. It was like not lining up, redoing the paperwork, everything like that. I just had to like really journal and decompress and be like, okay, why am I actually feeling stressed? Am I feeling like a failure because I'm not being like given this financing, or like what actually is my trigger? Like, why am I getting upset? You know, because at the end of the day, like the stress and allowing our body to like sit in that negative energy has something to do with like, we have a sticky part somewhere else, you know?
So you said you have there's a bit of a sticky part somewhere else. Is that kind of in relation to like the fitness? Do you feel like that kind of helped you work through that?
Yeah, I definitely feel like the fitness helps you work through it, because you use fitness to decompress from everything, right? Like if I'm feeling really angry about something, I feel like I can go and do like a really heavy weight session or a boxing session or something like that, where I can, you know, almost let the anger out, or get that, you know, more across than anything else.
Yeah, it's a great kind of way to put your energy into something that's not your business and not, you know, your partner or something, right? Like I always talk about that, like putting your energy into the iron, or putting some, you know, emotion into it, because you get rid of anger, you get rid of stress, you can really think, you know. I don't work out with other people usually. I'm a pretty solo workout guy, because I do a lot of thinking while I lift.
Me too. I don't use headphones. I don't do anything. I'm like very like just in focus on like what I'm doing, how the muscles feel like being, you know, trained.
Yeah.
I think a good thing too is like when you are like, if you're in like an overwhelmed state of feeling, is like going and doing something different, like a yin yoga class, or something that's more relaxing, or like a breath work or a sound bowl ceremony, like something that just like brings you more so back to like your gratitude practice than anything else.
100%. No, I totally agree with that. And that actually ties back to one of the videos we did not too long ago. I have a buddy named Dave Gu, that's a Wim Hof breath instructor.
So cool.
And we did like, we went down to Lynn Canyon, and I'll link the video up top actually, guys, if you want to check it out. But we went down to Lynn Canyon Canyon and we did like Wim Hof breathing and like a cold dip, and it's like
So cool.
North Vancouver, so really cool location. But yeah, like I love to do a bunch of different stuff. I don't just like to box myself into just the kettlebell stuff or just, you know, strongman or powerlifting. It's like I like, you know, different types of fitness. I like to move my body in different ways because I think it's important to have those, you know, different outlets for different situations.
Yeah, I think that's been the biggest thing, and the biggest thing I've grown into as I've like grown with more businesses is finding things that work during that era, you know, and being good at quite a few different things. So you have like all those different hats that you can put on with fitness that make you feel good in different types of situations.
One thing that a lot of clients will come to me and say is like, oh, I don't know what to eat, like I struggle to eat, or, you know, I struggle to get in so many meals a day, or I struggle to eat this much protein or that much protein. Everybody has a different, you know, laundry list of issues.
Yeah.
But for you, what's your kind of approach to nutrition, and what are some of the things that you do on a regular basis to make sure that you're not only fueling your body for success in the gym, but also for success in business?
Yeah, totally. So allowing myself to eat the things that I enjoy eating. I've always been like a very protein-based person. I grew up on a farm in Alberta. Growing up already eating like a very high protein diet was something I've always enjoyed. I love steak, eggs, all like, you know.
Got it.
Though it works, like very much a red meat type of girl. So I guess like if people were to like trend it, it's like carnivore, but I don't give myself like the same rules that so many, you know, people do when they're like, okay, I'm keto, so I have to do this, 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 and this. I'm carnivore, so I have to do this, 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 and this. Like, I still enjoy vegetables, so I eat them, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cut them out just because like a dieting style says I shouldn't eat them.
For sure. So you're kind of just saying that the protein is still the main focus. So
protein's a focus, and then like hot fats for me. Like I'm like someone, especially if I'm like in different parts of my like period cycle, like I notice that before I ovulate, my fats need to be extremely high or else I get really bad cramps. So just like learning to be really, really in tune with my body. And then I eat a lot of like my foods just when I want to. I'm not as scheduled as I was when I used to compete, you know, eating like 6 meals a day, only X, Y, Z. I think removing like that mindset of having to follow a scale for everything has been really good too.
Yeah, it's restrictive eating versus kind of eating how you like, but with a framework. And this is actually something that I talk about a lot is, you know, when somebody comes to me in the beginning, most people are protein deficient or they just don't eat enough protein.
Yeah.
So I don't look at what we can remove usually in the beginning for clients. I look at what can we add or increase. So it's like, let's increase the protein, let's increase your water intake. You know, for a lot of men, it could be looking at fiber intake.
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't really, on this channel, you won't see me preaching any sort of, you know, far end diets in terms of keto, carnivore, vegan. There could be a time and a place that's good for people to do that, but that's not what the channel's for.
Yeah.
So in terms of protein focus though, 100%. I think most people should be focusing on a high protein diet. It's gonna keep them more satiated, it's gonna keep them more level headed, it's gonna keep them fuller for longer. You're not gonna have as many energy crashes throughout the day. There's so many benefits to eating a high protein diet that go above and beyond just the amino acid for building muscle, right?
Yeah. There were so many times too when I remember when I was in prep and I was instructed to eat, you know, oats for breakfast, and I find for me that pumps my blood sugar up like quite high, you know, oats and jam and honey and things like that. And I'm like, oh wow, like I'm on like this sugar high, you know, and then I crash, and then you're feeling like much more hungry like later on in the day as compared to like eating like just ground beef and eggs or, you know, something like that for breakfast. Like I find keeps me satiated for longer, fuller for longer, and I'm more like locked in and like ready to actually do my jobs.
In the beginning, it can be useful to use like tracking your macros, tracking your food as a way to get yourself into that routine, but long term you want to have a framework and find the things that work best for you, right? Especially as a busy individual. You know, I have a lot of clients that will go out for dinners all the time, or they're taking clients to lunch, they're wining and dining. It's like, if you're doing that 3-4 times a week, you can't just be eating whatever you want for every single meal, especially if you have a goal of, you know, losing body fat or getting fit. You have to go into it with a bit of a framework and a bit of a idea of, hey, how can I edit these meals, or what should I be focused on going into those meals, right? So focusing on high protein, focusing on like a protein first approach is definitely, I think, a good way to look at it. Has there ever been a time where you've had to choose business over fitness, or you've had to kind of push fitness to the side, or has it always been something that you've kind of kept up with no matter what? that? And if you did run into that situation, how did you handle that moving forward from that?
Yeah, so I feel like there's been a few times, especially like when I've been prepping, where I've completely put my business on the back burner, and that has always made me feel like upset coming out of the competition, because I've, like not just like financial gain, but like I really enjoy the connections I get to have with people by either being in my store or taking photos of clients or doing hair and makeup. And when I'm so hyper focused on one, like I said, the rest kind of falls to the wayside, and it makes me upset. I'm such a people person. I enjoy doing my business. So having that happy balance of both is like super key. And I'm very thankful that with this store, the majority of my role now as the owner is to go and like take the different fitness classes and go meet the owners of all the different businesses around.
Yeah, you're very like business to business,
Yeah.
forward facing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you say that too, because I think most people would let maybe the business side like take over, but it sounds like for you more times it's been the fitness side that's taken over,
Yeah.
and then the business stuff is kind of pushed by the wayside. But I think it goes both ways, right? Like
It totally does.
It's where you put your energy goes, where your attention goes, energy flows.
100%.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
When we, like I said, when we were worrying about getting like all the financing for this and everything like that, I definitely was just focused on just the business and like Googling different things and trying to like hyper fixate on, how can I like get this situation faster, like last year, all of the business loans had to be paid back for SEBA, so they weren't granting new money to new businesses, and retail is still on like the bottom of the list for like businesses that are going to thrive in the future, unfortunately, in terms of the bank's view. So I was like, how do I figure this out? Who do I gotta go through? Like all this kind of stuff. And when we did the store too, like all the shelves here, we hand painted and put them up and cut them ourselves.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, do I still need to go to the gym after this? All that kind of stuff, because you're like,
I just painted shelves for 20 hours.
yeah, I'm already doing something pretty active, but at the end of the day, it's still not like doing
a
what's
workout.
necessary for your body, yeah.
Yeah, there will be those times where things will ebb and flow, but
Yeah.
I think one of the things I try to get through to my clients is that, take your busiest week or your busiest month, and how would you inject fitness into that?
Yeah,
It's a great way to start, right?
Yeah,
If it's a
100%.
30-minute workout twice a week, I don't really care. Just like take your busiest time period that you've ever had, and how would you have made fitness a part of that? Because that's what you're gonna be able to keep doing long term. And then maybe it becomes more than that eventually, but you need to start with something realistic that you can
Yes.
actually achieve. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up to push it to the side because you're too busy,
Yeah,
right?
injecting small goals into your day-to-day is like the best thing to do.
If there is somebody that's an entrepreneur out there that's just starting their fitness journey, if they can take one thing from this video, like one sort of applicable, maybe one or two, what would your advice be to them just starting off?
For sure. I would say find a class that you vibe with. Because honestly, I do find that the class environment becomes like very, very addictive and very fun. And it's something that you can really stick with because like the music is good or the instructors are great or like you feel like you have that type of connection. Plus like you're showing up with other people.
Social accountability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree. Yeah, I'm a big fan of classes. Like I go to kickboxing and I absolutely love it. Or I'm also a personal trainer. So if you guys have the
PTs
time
are huge.
or you care about your time, having a PT is probably one of the most time effective things because you don't have to think about your workout. You don't have to think about anything. You just show up and do it. But that being said, there is also a cost involved with that, right? So the class is going to be more cost effective. PT, I always say personal training is a bit of a luxury service, so it is going to be something that's a little more expensive. But if you care about your time, it's a well worth investment because you get results and you also don't have to think about anything. You just show up and do the work. You have your appointment. But it's the same thing, social accountability, right? You have either a group of people that are expecting to see you there or you have a coach that's expecting to see you at your session. And you're also paying for it, right? So
I find that's a big thing too. Is like, for instance, like a Pilates class is like a $38 drop-in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to miss it because you've already spent that kind of money. Same with a PT session, they're like anywhere from like $100 to $200, you don't want to miss out on that and miss out on the opportunity. But I find as compared to, paying just $40 to $80 a month for a gym membership, which you don't even notice coming off your credit card sometimes. The accountability of like booking a class and having to go or scheduling an appointment is like very, very good for someone that's busy.
My other one little sidebar tidbit, because I do have some really busy people that I train, is if you're a parent or you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, is build your own home gym, because that is going to be the biggest way to take back your time. Is you don't have to travel anywhere, you don't have to do anything. You can get it done in the morning, you can get it done in the evening when you get home. A lot of the busiest people that I personally know, they do use a home gym, just because it's like you're not paying a membership, it's there, it's
you
accessible.
don't have to worry about like kids care or anything like that. It's perfect. Yeah.
But that being said, I also have some clients that just love the social time. They love getting out of the house. They love the different environment, right? So it really, you gotta kind of make a pros and cons list. Say what's important to me. Is it time? Is it being social? Is it having somebody to hold me accountable? And then you can kind of make the decisions based off of that. So wrapping up here, I just wanted to ask you one more question, which is, what do you personally have kind of coming up here for the future? Like, it could be fitness goals or business goals. Like, where is Kendra going, so to speak? And we can kind of wrap up with that.
Yeah, so in terms of kind of business fitness goals, which is like, this is still like in the works, but potentially bringing FMG, which is Fitness Muscle Glamour. It's a fitness federation to Canada, and myself owning that federation for Canada and bringing shows here to Vancouver.
Very cool.
So that's like a kind of combo kind of idea. And then the other one is finding someone to replace me in the store, not as like an owner, but as the person who's like going out in the community and all that kind of stuff, so then I can start my family.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? If you can get somebody else in here that's leveraging your time back, right?
Yeah.
So the FMG, is that like a bodybuilding federation? Or
yeah,
like
so it's very like glamorous. Like you still have like your bikini round and your dress round, or your bikini round and your theme wear round. But they have a proper judging criteria, and it's very focused on like the muscle and the balance and overall stage presence and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and they're very big on like bringing in sponsors and things like that to make the event like really elaborate and great for the athletes.
Very cool. And where do they run those mostly right now? It's not in Canada yet?
No, so the main like hub for FMG right now is actually in Australia. They had their show in the Gold Coast in October, and they had like nearly 300 competitors.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, and on Wednesday, or whenever day this is, but I go to Mexico to go shoot 35 girls that are competing in that show in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. You know, what are your socials, or where can we find you?
Yeah, of course. So my socials on pretty much everything are at Kendra McGowan _. That's like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I think it's at Kendra McGowan 2020. I'd have to double check that for you. I always just type in my name and it shows up. If you see me on it, it's me.
Yep.
And then my website is there. I have a majority of my booking stuff, which is like KEN managementmgmt.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we will link all that stuff down below, guys, or put it somewhere on the screen so you guys can go check her stuff out too, because she does have Instagram, YouTube, etc. But yeah, this was an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for allowing us to film at your space, and also just coming on and giving us your perspective on fitness, especially with, you know, being a busy businesswoman as you are. So yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this video, we do have another video that we're gonna be filming in a moment here out of this space, where I'm gonna be trying a bunch of different protein powders, and I really don't know how it's gonna go. So the videographer Braden has some, you know, some fun tricks up his sleeve, but it should be a fun time. So if you guys wanna check that video out, we're gonna link it somewhere up here on the top via card. So definitely check that video out as well. And we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.